Hey, you guys, thanks for listening in to Tips with T. On today, I have Miss Barbara with us. Hey, Miss Barbara, how are you doing today?
Hi T, I am doing fabulous. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show. So, tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do.
Well, first, thank you so much for having me. I love being able to talk with you. I am a transformation coach for what I like to call intuitive, ambitious aliens. And those are the highly sensitive entrepreneurs, or the intuitive entrepreneurs, or the empath entrepreneurs that want to be their authentic self, that want to create a rewarding business, and that want to become financially free and live a fulfilled life.
Awesome. Awesome. So, what made you decide to become a coach to help people during this transformation?
Yeah, that is a very good question because for most of my life, 17 years to be exact, I was in IT. I began as a web designer, web builder, and programmer. But I never really felt like that was the ultimate thing for me. I loved the work, but I didn't love the people.
Mhm.
And through a series of events that started when I was a child, in hearing that I was too sensitive and that I needed to grow a thicker skin and not take things so personally, I suppressed a really big part of myself, which is what allowed me to work there. And eventually that just caught up with me. I ended up in a severe burnout. And
Mhm.
that forced me to look at myself and the choices that I had made and the things that I was doing. And to be brutally honest and just admit that it just wasn't working. So then began a long search to find myself and who I am and what I like to do and what actually really fits me. And that turned out to be just helping people. So I am both a coach and an acupuncturist, and I love being able to help people step into their own power and just live a life of fulfillment, of happiness, of health.
I'm so glad you said that because I was just recently in that particular point of my life. I was working somewhere. I enjoyed the work because I enjoy helping. I enjoy working in mental health. I enjoy helping others, but it was just the fact that I was just stuck in an environment where the coworkers and staff and management just wasn't making the job as easier as it should, because it's already kind of a stressful job when you're working with clients that have behaviors, but then it's become more difficult when you're in an environment to where you're working with difficult staff and employees and management. So it came
Mm-hmm.
to a point to where during this pandemic, you know, I had to make a decision whether I was going to go back there to work and be burnt out and constantly stressed out, or was I going to pursue my dreams and feeling fulfilled of happiness and working on the things that I really love. I really love helping people, but me helping someone and then working in a stressful environment does not work well for me. So I'm glad you said that, because a lot of us realize don't really understand that until we get to that rock bottom point. It's like, okay, hey, this is kind
Mm-hmm.
of making me unhealthy now,
Yes.
because now I'm having unnecessary stress that shouldn't be there.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yes, you sum it up perfectly. That is what happens. I never really chose my career. It just sort of happened.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody saw something in me, and then I started doing that. And then somebody saw something else and offered me education to become that. And I thought, oh yeah, well, the hell not. And that happened like 5 times or something in a row. And then you never really. I never really chose what I did or what I wanted to be. And there are so many expectations, and when you look around, nobody is particularly happy in their job, and everybody seems to just accept it as the way of life, that you need to have a job, you need to pay your bills, so you need to work, and working isn't supposed to be fun, so just take it, and that's it. And that's what I see with so many people in daily life, and also the people that come into my practice. And yeah, it just doesn't have to be that way. There is something out there for everybody that really suits who they are and that plays to their strengths and that gives them a sense of purpose, a sense of fulfillment in their life, and that gives energy and excitement and touches your passion.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So why do you think it's very important for us to be able to accept and embrace ourselves?
Well, it's very important for us because otherwise you will never reach that happy life that you deep down inside really want.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't accept yourself, how can you expect other people to accept you?
Right.
Because you're constantly showing them a mask, a version of yourself that is not you, because you haven't accepted yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same with embracing who you are. You need to accept that this is who you are, and then you need to embrace it so that you can see the beautiful sides of who you are, get to know your talents and your gifts, and then start to use them within your life without having to have all these masks that most of us wear in day-to-day life. And if you can do that, if you can be your true, pure, authentic self
Mm-hmm.
and connect with people in that way, then you'll have just more meaningful relationships, not just romantic relationships, but also with your family and with your friends. And then you are able to find a job that really plays into those strengths and that uses your talents. And then you have a shot of being happy and feeling free.
Awesome. So, how do you teach your clients to accept and embrace themselves so they can transform into that person that they are desiring to be?
Well, it kind of depends on the person that comes to me. It could be either a one-on-one coaching or a mentoring program, or it could be one of my online programs. And what they all have in common is that you need to get to know your own user manual really well. What are
Mm-hmm.
your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What gives you energy? What drains your energy? What are your pitfalls? And what is your passion? What really excites you? And if you know all that information, then you can see who you really are and start to accept who you really are, and then start to embrace who you really are.
Awesome. Awesome. So, how can this help someone when it comes to growing their business or starting their own business when they're trying to, with the acceptance and embracement?
Well, you are your business.
Mm-hmm.
So how well you are doing is how well your business is doing. And what I see with people who have not accepted themselves completely and have not embraced their talents and their gifts is that they are trying to do it in what some people call the masculine way,
Uh-huh.
with pushing themselves and making deadlines and planning and doing a course here and a course there in learning better marketing or better sales. But what they notice is that they seem to be doing everything well, and still the clients won't come. They struggle with their income, they struggle with their business, they struggle with their self-worth, and usually come to a point where they need to make a decision. Am I going to give up my dream, or am I going to change something to make it a success?
Mm-hmm.
And what needs to change is that you accept and embrace yourself, because people, and that includes your ideal clients, can only like you and want to work with you if they know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to show them who you are, you first need to know yourself,
Right.
who you are and what you can do.
Awesome. I do. I really do think that's like the main key of that. I feel like people need to take a lot of time to self-reflect, to figure out what makes them who they are, what inner issues that they might have had, but they are compressing them so they can finally deal with them, so they can embrace them and move forward. Because a lot of people don't know that who you are and what you hold on to and how you do things reflect you as well as personally and professionally. And I
Yes.
can't really
Yes.
express that enough. And actually, it's so funny because I feel like during this pandemic, with quarantine, some people are actually being faced to actually deal with themselves and realize
Yes.
who they are because you're in
Certainly. Yeah.
quarantine, especially if
Yes.
you are in relationships and now you got to be with someone 24/7. Y'all got to deal with those issues that y'all been putting off because it was easier because y'all both can just leave the house all day long and not have to deal with one another, just have to deal with each other for a certain amount of time. But it's really
Also,
important.
if you're by yourself, you
Right.
cannot run from yourself anymore. You cannot go to the pub or the disco or the cafe or go to friends or hang out. You're
Mhm.
constantly faced with yourself.
Right.
So all the things about yourself that a lot of people are running away from
Uh-huh.
suddenly just stare you in the face, and you try to run away, but there's nowhere to go. And then eventually you're just being forced to deal with them.
Uh-huh. Awesome. Like even with me, I know I can be a little bit introvert, but before this all happened, I've been doing the work. But I feel like this quarantine has actually helped me better or more to actually go for those dreams and different things that I wanted to do, because I was able to do the work previously and
Mm,
figure out this is what I like about myself. Um,
wonderful.
this is what I don't like about myself. And then sometimes when I really sat down and I figure out what I didn't like about myself, the only reason why I didn't like that thing about myself because other people didn't like it. But at the
Mm,
end of the day, it shouldn't matter what other people like about you, as long as you like yourself. So I had to
exactly.
really deal with that. So I'm glad you are a coach and you're teaching people how to deal with that, how to embrace and accept themselves. And yeah, because that's very, very important.
Yes, yes, it is.
Awesome. So you also are an ambitious. I'm trying to read the background. Allies. So, but you have features like
Translation code
awesome.
for
But
intuitive, ambitious aliens.
yeah,
Yes.
aliens. So tell us more about that.
Well, aliens to me are people like me. For most of my life, I felt weird and I felt strange and I felt like I didn't fit in, like I didn't belong. I couldn't really connect with other people because other people just didn't seem to be like me. They
Mhm.
didn't seem to think like me, act like me, value the same things as me. And that made me feel like there was something wrong with me. There was seriously a time in my life that I considered that there was actually something wrong with me just because nobody seemed to be like me or click like me. And it also made me very, very alone, very lonely. And that is what I mean with the alien part. It's the people that feel like they are an outsider,
Mhm.
like mainstream society is just not for them. And usually they are introverted, or they are intuitive, or they are highly sensitive, or they are empaths, or starseeds, light workers, dark workers, and all kinds of people that recognize themselves in all these labels. And I'm not really a label fan. I don't like to put people in boxes. But knowing who you are, for instance, you know, if you know that you're introverted, then you know that being a sparkly media personality on camera is going to be hard work if it's ever possible.
Right.
And it will also drain you because that's not your personality.
Mhm.
So getting to know the labels that are applicable for you isn't a branding of sorts, but it is a key discovery into the person that you are, and also in what drains you or what gives you energy. So if you're introverted, then probably you'll get much more energy if you do podcasts where people don't see your face and where you can just talk in your pajama or whatever,
Mhm.
and that would fit you much better than being on camera or doing Facebook lives or giving webinars if that's just not your forte.
Mhm. Awesome. So thank you, Miss Barbara, for coming on the show today, telling us about your journey and how you're helping people. And I highly appreciate what you're doing. So tell our listeners how they can get in contact with you. I'm going to share your social media handles, and if they want to render your services, or I know you had mentioned um, courses that you was offering.
Yes, that is true. I am to be found on all social media under HSP Coach Barbara, which is also my website, as people can see now, www.hspcoachbarbara with an e.com. And yeah, you can find under my services section the one-on-one coaching or the mentoring or the online programs that I offer. I also have shorter courses and a lot of free stuff like tests and articles and blogs. And I have a YouTube channel and I have a podcast called 100% Yourself with Barbara. So there are many ways in which you can both get to know me and get to be in contact with me. And if any of this resonates, I offer a free clarity call to everybody that is interested. So just go to my website and book that call and let's talk.
Awesome. And if you guys want to get in contact with me, you can do so. You can call me 910-317-0396. Shoot me an email, contact at mjfinancial.biz. You can schedule a consultation at my website, www.mjfinancial.biz. You can find this episode on Anchor, you guys, and you can also find this playback of the video on the YouTube channel for M&J Financial Management. So thank you again, Miss Barbara, for being on the show today. I highly appreciate you. I look forward to you being a guest again.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I loved our talk and I'd love to come back as well. Wishing everybody a wonderful day.
All right, you guys, and we will see you on the next episode of Tips with Tea.